mates! So I'm going to read the last 2 chapters that are actually up right now. I don't think this is a finished story, so we're gonna, yeah. So chapter 8, Time flies by when your life is on the line. It has been 4 days since I ran away and have covered my tracks. It hurt to be away from him, but I don't know why. I want to run back to them, but they will probably kill me. I probably made the love of my life resent me, and now have no home or family. I have 24 hours to live, and no one to comfort me. I should have never been born. Maybe it's not too late. Today, Integra will be at the museum with Sir Enrico Maxwell. She will be out in the open, so maybe I can find her. Alucard will be there as well. I'll have a lot of explaining to do. At least I brought all my weapons, outfit, and more. I'm so glad I made all of this. At least I can use it. Breaking into a museum is something I've never done before. This will be interesting. Alucard's point of view. It has been 4 days since my love, Brianna, left without notice. Integra is furious with her, and now Sir Enrico Maxwell from the Vitcan is going to meet up with her. Her blood is practically lava. Why did Brianna leave us? It hurts to be without her. She took my heart with her, and now nothing matters. If she ever does come back, she has a lot of explaining to do. If she was from another dimension, she would know where we would be going. She knew about me and everybody, so there is a possibility that she will be there. If she is, I will punish her. She will also have to explain, but I'll make sure that she will be able to speak. She will remember not to run away again, though. Time skip. Brianna's point of view. I put on my outfit and made my way to the museum. It was easy when you follow her limousine to the museum. I snuck into the back, but got lost trying to find them. I made my way to the art gallery, which was close to the roof. I wanted to make an entrance, which was my plan from the beginning. So I brought a black cape, which covered everything. I made my way to the roof to see through glass things that you can see the sky with from the inside. I saw Sir Integra Maxwell talking about the painting, then looked towards Integra. I saw him yell at Integra, which caused Alucard to come out of hiding and call to Anderson. When he was halfway to Sir Enrico Maxwell, I jumped through the glass and RKO'd Anderson. I then took off my cape, which I looked towards everybody. They were all shocked, including Alucard. My chest started to hurt, but that is normal when you're randomly going to die. So I didn't show that I was in pain. The pain would only get worse until I died. I would have to deal with it. I moved past Maxwell and stopped at Integra. She had snapped out of it and looked somewhat relieved. Did you think I would tell about the hellsing organization? I would never do that. It seems that you have returned, but I do believe an explanation is in order, Integra said in her usual strict way. I will brief you later on the information I have collected on a certain subject. For now, you have an agenda to keep, I said, almost like Walter. She didn't even have time to finish before Alexander Anderson started to get up. All eyes were on him. He looked pissed off, and obviously, it was my fault. I don't really like him, so I don't care. But I guess Alucard did, because he stepped right in front of me. My lover was trying to protect me. I wanted to melt right then and there. Why would a little less like you be trying to help the bloodthirsty heathen who belonged to those hellsing dogs? Anderson said, pissed off, of course. I would answer that question, but even from here, your breath is just too painful. Why don't you go back to your top-secret Vicanican basement where you rape little orphan boys? I said without emotion, while Alucard started to laugh. Such a wee lass, yet such a foul mouth. Such an irrelevant motherfucker-ass bitch, yet such a little duck that even God laughs. Ye would do well to watch ye mouth, for the Lord is watching. I am satanic. So you would defy ye Lord? Not only that, I perform rituals and worship Satan. I will make ye beg to God for mercy, on ye hands and knees. Thanks for the offer, but I am not your mother last night. Before I could go any further, Walter put his hand around my mouth. Alucard was laughing so hard I thought he might actually die again. Walter soon uncovered my mouth and went next to Integra. Alucard stopped laughing, and they continued the meeting. The more time I spent there, the pain increased. I made my way to the bathroom at one point, only to throw up blood and some small pieces of lung. Till we got back to the organization, I kept up the act. Everyone, including me, had gone to Integra's office. As soon as I got into the office, I collapsed on the floor, coughing up blood and pieces of my lung. Alucard helped me get up, but everyone had worried faces. I was the only one smiling. I told them everything, except for the part where I didn't want to cause any more problems, and they exchanged looks for a while. Right now, you have about 8 hours till you have to be on that lake. You can't stop this, and we need someone to supervise you. So Alucard, bring her downstairs with you, and keep a close eye on her. Alucard's point of view. I carried my darling Brianna bridal style downstairs. This is why she left, but it still doesn't explain why she took everything and vanished into thin air. I'm glad she is back. I set her on top of my coffin. She has been smiling ever since she made that surprise entrance in the museum. She made me the happiest man in the world when she told off Anderson. I can't believe she will die within a few hours. She said that the day she found out about her dying was the day we confessed our love for each other. That is a lot of pressure. Could this be the reason why she left the way she did? I'm sorry for leaving. I thought I would cause more problems, but being without you hurt. You might hate me now, but I still love you. You are the reason why I'm fighting to survive, she said, still smiling. I don't hate you. After you had left, I wanted to punish you for leaving if you came back. But I can see that you are already being tortured, I said with a smile as well. You sure do know how to make someone feel better, don't you? Even though you don't hate me, you don't love, right? I have always loved you. She looked at me with wide eyes. I could tell she was in pain, but she looked like I caused her heart to stop. I guess she wasn't expecting that. The girl who knows everything about me and everything I will say didn't expect me to say that. Interesting. Do you remember when I was singing at the pond and you wanted to sing with me? She said while giving me an innocent smile. Yes, I do remember, I said, still smiling. I have some pen and paper. Can I have some pen and paper? I gave her the pen and paper, trying to figure out what she was going to do. After a few moments, she gave me the paper back. It was a song called Angel with a Shotgun, and it was by The Cab. Brianna, did you want to sing this? I say with a devilish smile. I was hoping we could sing it together. Of course we can sing it together. She began to sing with me. I'm not going to read the lyrics just because I don't want to, and I'm too lazy to, but you can find the song, and I actually have Nightcore's version of that downloaded, and it is an awesome song. I had it stuck in my head after listening to it first time, so good song. After we finished the song, I saw Brianna get up. I was about to sit her back down when she kissed me. I broke away because her breathing was already off, and she fell to the floor, started to cough up more blood in some of her lung. I want her to stay alive, but can she hold on? She isn't exactly able to walk. Brianna's point of view. After singing that song, I felt so much better. I was never afraid of death, and it still doesn't bother me, but I am sad. I might never see Alucard again. I can't lose him. I kissed him, but he pulled away. I could barely breathe to begin with. I started to cough up more blood in more of my lungs. I couldn't even stand. I have to keep fighting. I can't lose the only good thing in my life. I try to get up and fall to the floor. I turn over, so I'm laying on my back. I feel as if there is acid inside of me. Every part of my body started to burn. It felt as if the air was being sucked out of me, all of a sudden. Alucard was hovering over me, probably because it looked like I was having a seizure. The pain was unbearable. I tried not to scream, but I couldn't help it. I could tell Alucard was trying to help me, but I knew that he couldn't help me. Integracious and Walter had rushed into the basement. Walter ran over to Alucard while Alucard was telling him what happened. Integra started shouting orders while Ciara was freaking out. I couldn't really make out what anyone was saying. The pain was coursing through my veins, and it kept getting worse. The acid-like feeling kept getting worse. I couldn't help but scream. I saw everyone hovering over me, trying to calm me down, but to no avail. It felt like I was in pain for hours. The only thing I did hear was the time. Walter said I had an hour and a half left. That was good news, but I still had to go through more pain. I looked towards Alucard, and he grabbed my hand. Even if I died, I knew that Alucard would know that I loved him. I must have lost track of time looking into his eyes, because I heard someone say that I had 30 more minutes. I felt another wave of pain, but it felt like I was covered in acid. I screamed at the top of my lungs. It stopped after a few moments, but I felt all my strength leave my body. I could tell I was losing consciousness. I had been fighting, but I knew I wouldn't make it. I might regret this, but I have to do it. Alucard, I want you to move on. I will always love you. I can't keep fighting. I am sorry, I said as I placed my hand on his cheek with a weak smile. I felt the darkness taking me away as I heard Alucard say something. I fell into the darkness, already regretted leaving him. Alucard's point of view. When she told me that, I tried to tell her to hang on, but she went limp in my arms. I couldn't hear her heartbeat anymore. I knew she had died, but I won't let it happen. I took her into my arms and went as fast as possible to the pond. I set her down on the pond and waited. I wouldn't let her leave. Nothing was happening, which made this worse. She has to come back. I was just about to take her out of the water when the moonlight somehow surrounded her, and she started to change. Her dirty blonde hair had turned back, and her clothes lined into a dress. She started to get up, and black wings formed on her back. She opened her eyes. They were red. She looked beautiful. Brianna's point of view. I was in the darkness, waiting for some light or someone. Soon, a man who looked like he was 20 came out of the darkness. He had white hair and blue eyes. Surprisingly, he looked alive, not like those ghosts from the shows, but I knew better. Briar, I have waited your arrival, he spoke with a velvet voice. I'm sorry, but you must have mistaken. My name is Brianna, I said in a mellow tone. That was the name your mother had given you. I gave you the name Briar Kira Rose at your birth. Why? I gave you that name because you are my daughter. My father is still alive, and named Sean. Your mother had a relationship with me as well as that putrid man. Most are afraid of me at sight, but both you and your mother are not. Your mother and I are mates, even though we still deny it. Who are you? I am Satan, the one and only. I choose to believe you, but what does that make me if you are my father? You are the princess of hell, queen of all witches, the goodness of war and calmity. You have the powers of all animals, guardian of the gates, where you keep track of all dimensions and get to go through dimensions in the balance between good and evil. Does that mean I can go back to the hellsing organization? You can go back, but what for? I made a promise, and I have a lover. Is your lover Alucard Hellsing? Yes. It looks as if you have found your mate. I'm all right with that. You must hurry, but come and visit sometime. I will. I felt lightheaded, and I saw a light. I walked straight into it. I soon found my appearance changing, but I thought it was just my imagination. So felt somewhat taller. My surroundings became clear, and I noticed the pain I once felt was now gone. I realized I was on the lake, but I wasn't wet. I looked at myself through the water. My newly red eyes made me look like a monster. Who would ever love a monster? I stood up, only to be greeted by a familiar figure. It was Alucard, but he seemed to be scanning me. I walked towards him till we were face to face. I was now face to face with him, so you could tell I've grown. I wanted to speak, but I couldn't find the words. How could you tell someone who you love and just witnessed your death that you are Satan's daughter, and so much more? Is it a death sentence? I wish this was earlier. I wish this was easier. Brianna, my darling, it seems you have changed in more ways than one, he said in his usual smart-ass tone, with a devilish grin. I walked past him after he said that, so he couldn't see me blushing. He started to follow me as I entered the organization once more. It was great to be back. I made my way to Integra's office, only to see Sierra crying with Walter comforting her. Integra looked towards me with a bit of shock. After a few moments, Walter and Sierra were looking at me wide-eyed. Alucard soon arrived. Brianna, it seems as if you are alive once more, Integra said in a somewhat calm manner. Brianna was the name my mother had given me. My father gave me the name Briar Kira Rose. I would like to go by either name, with the added fact that I am no longer human, which is easier to decipher, I say with a smile. After a few hours of telling what had happened and what I am, the sun started to rise. We all left Integra's office, slowly but surely. Alucard was the first to leave, and I was the last. I made sure it was that way. After what I did to him, I deserved to be chained and caged up. As I walked down the long hallway, someone grabbed my arm and pinned me against the wall. I was too tired to protest. I looked to see who it was, and it was Alucard. He stared into my eyes, which made me want to melt, and then he pulled me into my room. He closed the door and let me go. Alucard, why did you do that to me? I said as plainly as possible. You left me alone and made me worry. I would have never moved on. After you came back, you were trying to ignore me. Don't you love me? He said, trying to make me scared, but it didn't work. Of course I do, but would you really love a monster like me? For all I know, you could be using me. He pinned me to the bed and made sure I couldn't escape his grasp. With only one hand holding my others, since I didn't really want to fight him, he looked straight into my eyes, which made me afraid of his answer. I will always love you. I don't care who or what you are. As long as you are by my side till the very end. You have won my heart, he said, with his face slowly getting closer to mine. You have won my heart as well. As I said that, his lips pressed against mine, which made me want more. He deepened the kiss, which caused me to move on one of my hands into his hair and play with it, earning a slight groan from him. His fangs nipped at my bottom lip, asking for entrance. I granted him access to my white cavern. He soon broke the kiss, which made me a bit mad. Ever since I met you, I wanted to make you mine, but I wanted your permission. Do you want this? He said, taking off his hat and glasses. I'm all yours, body, mind, and soul, I said while slightly blushing. Are you a virgin? Yes. I shall try to be gentle. I simply nodded as he kissed me again and placed his hand under my shirt, playing with my breasts. Without breaking the kiss, he took off my dress, and I was in black-red underwear and bra. He took off my bra and exposed my chest. He placed his mouth on my heart and blood and massaged the other, which made me moan. He switched with which earned the same reaction. Then he took off the rest of his clothes till he was in his boxers. He started to kiss my neck, then bite down. It felt different from before. I felt a wave of pleasure shoot through my body, turning me into a moaning mess. He kissed down my neck, to my chest, to my stomach, till he reached my underwear. He pulled them off with his teeth and spread my legs. He placed one digit, and soon there were three. I was moaning his name, which made him smile. He took off his boxers, which was my chance to make him moan. I moved closer to his dick and licked the tip, which made him groan. I slowly placed the whole thing in my mouth, which was surprising because he was huge. I slowly bobbed up and down to tease him. Soon I was deep-throating him. He started to moan my name, but before he could come, I removed my mouth from his dick, which annoyed him. He placed his dick at my entrance and looked up at me. I nodded. He slammed into me, and I felt blood drip out of me, but the pain was bearable, considering I endured worse. Pleasure replaced the pain, and I bucked my hips. He started to thrust in and out, which made us both a moaning mess. I was practically screaming his name, and him as well. Soon we both climaxed. This was the best night of my undead life, and I know there would be plenty more to come. I could tell Alucard thought the same thing. I drifted off to sleep in his arms. Chapter 9. It is a wonderful day in the hellsing organization. As I woke up, last night's events were playing in my mind. I looked next to me to see a naked sleeping Alucard. As I was getting up, I used my newfound speed so I wouldn't wake him up. The time on my phone was 8 p.m. I looked into the mirror. I had wished that I had shorter hair, black combat boots, a red-black outfit, because that is what I would like to wear. I knew it wouldn't happen, so I walked away from the mirror. Then I started to glow. When the light was gone, I was wearing what I wanted. To be honest, it wasn't that surprising. There are worse things than clothing that you have wished for to suddenly appear on your body. The worst thing would have to be losing Alucard, but because he disappeared into thin air. I know it will happen, but can I really wait 30 years? I know I will stop aging when I'm 21, but can I really lose him? This is the hardest thing I'll have to face, but at least I have a place I can call home. Even if I have a little time with Alucard left, I will make the most of it. I was so deep in thought I didn't even see Alucard get up. I didn't even sense it. He wrapped his arms around me and turned me around, so I was facing him. He had all of his clothes on. He must have used his vampire speed, or was I that deep in thought? His smile was devilish, but somewhat comforting. Did you enjoy last night? He said, looking me in the eyes, not looking away. It was the best night of my life. Well, my undead life. It also seems as if I have many extraordinary powers, I said, giving him a small smile. It was mine too. I don't care about your powers. I care about you. Without you, undead life, is meaningless. You took the words out of my mouth. Alucard, we have to go to Master. We have a job to do. Oh, is that so? I wanted to spend more time with my queen. Well, your queen will be spending most of her time with you, because her king works with her. Will her king escort her to their master? The king will be delighted to escort his queen to their master. After all, he wouldn't be much of a king if he didn't. After we walked together into Integra's office, we saw that everyone was already there. They must have been waiting for us. After what happened last night, it seemed as if everyone was happier. Did they all miss me when I died? I guess I'm not used to this happening. Briar, what would you say your relationship with Alucard is exactly? Integra said, like Sherry said. Intimate, both me and Alucard said at the same time, which shocked Sierra's. But Integra and Walter were unfazed. I see. Well, as long as it doesn't interfere with your jobs, then I suppose I could allow it. Now, back to business. We have a clue as to whom we are dealing with. It is Millennium, but so far we have some information. Briar, would you know anything about this clue? I do, but if I told you, I could put this world at risk. How so? It can mess up the storyline and something even worse can happen. So something bad is going to happen, involving Millennium. But if you tell us that, then something worse will happen, Surya said, trying to comprehend. That is correct. I would like nothing less than to tell you, but I can't. You may all leave. Time skip. It had been 1 month since I became what I am now. Alucard and me are the happiest we could ever be. But we have already suffered because of Millennium. They are already getting on my nerves. I can tell that they are also getting on Alucard's nerves as well. I don't want to lose him, but do I really have a choice? I can't do anything about it, which makes me useless. I can't think about it. He will come back, and that's what matters. I have been helping Walter around the organization, even though he is going to betray Integra. He probably had a good reason for it, but I shouldn't get involved. All I can really think about is Alucard. Alucard's point of view. It had been 1 month since my darling Briar has become who she is now. We are happy just to be together, but I can tell something is wrong. I try to ask, but every time she breaks down in tears. It pains me to see her like this. If she won't tell me, I know it's for a good reason, but it is hurting her. After what happened 1 month ago, I can't lose her. I almost lost her once, and that won't happen again. I want her to be happy, and I'll do anything for it to happen. If only I knew what was happening to her. I knew she won't tell anything about Millennium, but if they are somehow blackmailing her, they are going to regret it. She is mine, and it will stay that way. No one will break us apart, and I will make sure of that. Okay, so that's pretty much all that's posted right now is up to 9 chapters. So as soon as this gets more chapters published, I will read them up. I will read them and post the videos up for you guys. Alrighty. My next playlist is going to be a Hobbit playlist, so it's fanfiction for the Hobbit. Alrighty. Peace out, nights.